Hey, what's up everybody? It's Cyelee with Parallel Defense. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. Today we are back to talk about another optics review. Today we're going to be going over the Cyelee Bull X Pro. First and foremost, shout out to Cyelee. They did send this optic out to me for review. I requested it. I said, hey, I like that optic. I believe I saw Got Gamage with it first. I was like, I want to go ahead and review it because this is going to be a contender in the competition market. And I feel like I can talk to it a lot just based off of the looks. So they sent it to me. And when I got it, I was surprised by every fashion out there. I was super caught off guard with it. First things first that you notice whenever you look at the Bull X Pro is that it's absolutely massive. This is a huge optic in itself, dot and everything. It's coming in at a 1.36 by 1.02 inch window, which is the largest right now, I believe, on the market. And it's just a tank. Everything about it is large. You have large buttons, large windows, large reinforcements to make sure the optic stays there. So let's talk about the generic stuff and then we'll dive into my opinion a little bit. It has a 2 MOA dot with a 26 MOA ring. It has a side loading battery. It comes in an RMR footprint, has 50,000 hour battery life, and it is drop proof is what they're calling it. It does have a shake and wake setting, and yeah, that's all your generic stuff. That's the stuff that people want to hear. Get it out the way now. Now, let's talk about the optic itself, in my opinion. So I have about 500 rounds through this, and my objective wasn't to break it, but to see how rugged it was going to be. I was able to get 3 drops with this here, and it did maintain 0, and it did not break. So I can report that back to you. Now, let's talk about what or why I think this is not going to break. It's going to take a while to break this. Again, nothing is indestructible. I hate that that's standard for us in the industry. It should be more of a, hey, I put money towards this. I want to make sure that it's going to last or have a phenomenal warranty. Nothing's bomb-proof. Nothing's going to just sit there and take every single thing you do at it. There is a breaking point for every optic we have out there. The goal that we're looking for is more rugged. I don't want it to break on 1 drop or 2 drop or 3 drops. It should be able to attain or have multiple drops without it actually breaking or the glass cracking. The Bull did that phenomenally. So we'll talk about the exterior of it. Cyelee did this thing. Now, if you guys remember back when the SRO came out, the very first thing they did was break it, right? Everybody broke the SRO because of the round shape. That round shape hitting the ground, it doesn't work like that. The aluminum's strong, but it's not that strong enough to keep it from breaking. So they dropped the Bros mount. The Bros mount was great, but then people were still breaking it inside the Bros mount. And that kind of put the SRO on this playing field where people were like, yo, it's really cool for competition, but I'm not going to carry it because if I drop it, if it falls, it's not going to maintain the glass and it's going to start obstructing my vision. I don't want to deal with that, which essentially makes sense, right? You don't want something where if you drop it, the glass breaks and now it's difficult for you to shoot because though you're going to be target focused, you have all this fuzziness going on. Tons of things that people don't want that, especially for optics that are going to be up past the $300 range. What Cyelee did here was they kind of integrated a better version of the Bro Shield, in my opinion, with adding reinforcements to the optic itself. So if you look at it, you see these 2 kind of pillars going amongst and over top of this center one in the middle. Essentially, when you drop it, the very first thing that's going to hit are these 2 pillars. Almost in any direction that you drop it, those are going to be the first thing to make contact with the ground. What that does is it protects not only the outer layer, but it's going to protect the glass as well. So as it's dropping, when it hits, once these hit, look how much space I have between anything that's touched there. You'd have to have like a very specific rock or pebble or whatever to actually go there to damage that or hit it itself. And then even at that point, this is still a pretty solid and thick piece of material around that. So Cyelee really did take it a bit further in making this closer to indestructible as it can be. Things you still may have to worry about are rounds coming back from the ejection port and hitting the glass. I do have one optic right now. I'm not going to name it. Whenever I review it, I'll explain. It did break off of the glass coming back and hitting that. So that still is an issue. It is an open emitter. You shouldn't have anything going in through this way, but again, the glass is open there. It's not a closed emitter, so those are the areas that could potentially break. Aside that, my opinion, I thought it performed well. I didn't have any issues after the drops. There was no flickering, there was no damage, just some cosmetics, right? Just some marring to the optic body itself. But again, if you run your gun, you're gonna have that happen anyways. You're gonna see all types of dings and everything else. In comparison, so this is my actual competition gun. This is my Holosun 507 comp on a Zev OZ9 standard. This is my backup competition pistol. All right, practically they are the same thing. Why I wanted the Cyelee? Well, when you look at the 2 windows together, they are very similar in shape. And for the longest time, it was difficult to find one that was going to keep up with the Holosun and the performance they put out. The Cyelee does. The Bull Pro does. The only con that I have for the Bull Pro right now as it stands is that it is a little too big as far as the body goes itself. So if you're looking at the two of these, the Holosun fits flush or it protrudes very slightly off the sides of the slide. The Bull X Pro protrudes a lot off the sides. It's literally hanging on both sides. Not saying that that's a bad thing because it's still protected, right? It's still mounted to there. It's not coming off. But that is a failure point for me because eventually as you drop it, it can lean to one or the other side as it's falling, and it can create a loose optic versus having that snug fitment to the slide itself. So that would be the only con to me, is that it does fall off a little bit in its size. Now, I'm not saying don't buy it for that, because it's still a good optic. If you want this large of a window so you can collect all that information, run it. Like I said, it's literally on my backup pistol. I have shot this, I use it, I practice with it still to have a comfort with it. Things I would like to see happen with this is a 6 MOA version. If you guys are into competition or you're getting in there, you'll notice a lot of competition shooters prefer a 6 MOA dot. I've even talking to some masterclass and GMs about the Holosun, and they don't like the 8 MOA circle. They want a 6 MOA dot. So Cyelee, being how they are, I'm sure with this feedback, they will go ahead and take that into consideration. People want 6 MOA. Do a 6 MOA dot and a 26 MOA circle, and people will be happy. I think this would absolutely shine though on a PCC. Just because of the size of it, you put it on a regular mount, you're gonna have a blast, especially for $299. There's gonna be no issues at all with it on a PCC. Again, not saying that you shouldn't run it on a pistol. It's just not the, I don't want to even say the most optimal, because it runs well. My opinion on the cons on it are my opinion alone. It's just something that I like. I wish it was snugger or a little bit more flush with the slide. It's not. It is what it is. I'm not going to cry about it. That's the only thing that I can pinpoint, that and that I'd like a 6 MOA. Besides all that, it was great. I liked it. It's going to stay on here until I find another option, potentially coming here soon. One thing I do want to mention is that Cyelee did release a smaller version of this in overall size. So kind of the cons that I'm pointing out, Cyelee fixed them with their Ghost optic. Their Ghost optic is a little bit smaller in the footprint, but still has a very similar size window. In my opinion, I believe the Ghost is going to be an SRO killer, but whenever the Ghost gets in, we will show you guys. But for now, that's kind of all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, shout out to Cyelee. Thank you guys for sending this out to me for testing. If you guys have any questions, drop them below. If you guys want to buy this, you guys can use my code Parallel20. It'll save you guys 20% off the optic. The optic's $299. You do the math, you're going to get into a great optic. No complaints here. I'm going to continue running this. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, drop them below. Y'all have a good one.